Hey guys, real quick, write this down. August 16th, 2025, we're going to be doing an IMNerd 1K tournament, which is free for everybody in our party member or higher tier on Patreon. This is going to be an Edison format.
Real Edison format.
That's right. Real Edison format, not the fake one. We're going to be playing real Edison format. The tournament is going to be Swiss, 50-minute rounds. And for people who have no idea what we're talking about, this is what the Patreon looks like if you go to it right now, if you are not a member already.
So yeah, it's the middle of August, the 16th. It's hot outside. Turn your AC on, drink some water, play some Yu-Gi-Oh, and make some money.
There you go. And with that being said, enjoy today's video. All right, welcome back to the channel. I am joined today by the famous, one of Edison's finest, 10-foot D. He is one of the players known for Hero Frogs at this point. It's been a couple years since you've been on this deck, which is crazy because you started off playing Value, which is like the natural enemy of Hero Frogs, I feel like, at this point in the format. But yeah, you won a tournament with Value back in the day. Was it an RBET?
Yeah, it was back in like 2022. It was a while ago.
Yeah, 2022, you won an RBET. Still a good accomplishment. That's still an Edison major. And those tournaments, they even back then they had like 150 people online. So yeah, that's how I got into Edison format, honestly, seeing that. Anyways, you have an illustrious career, bunch of tops, all that stuff. You know, we're here today to talk about dupeless frogs, like dupeless hero frogs specifically, because this is now the craze of the week. I feel like this is now the new trend that everyone is talking about, asking questions about. I thought that we had enough problems with Malicious and how fucking terrible that card is. We could have a completely separate video for just Malicious, but somehow we moved from Malicious to now no dupes. And I have a lot to say on this because I've tried it and I understand the logic behind why someone would think to cut the dupe frogs. Also, to be clear, before we fully get into this, shout out to the people who created this deck, which is Dirk Wagner and his group, which consists of his brother, I believe, Nick Wagner, and also RJ. So those guys are from, I believe, the Chicago area. I think they might not all exist in that area still, but whether that's true or not really the point. They came up with this list and they always play it at YCS, at Ultimate Time Wizards. And honestly, the interesting thing about it is that they've gone undefeated in Swiss, like the three of them with this exact list. They've gone undefeated in Swiss in Ultimate Time Wizards, I believe 3 times now, which is very, very, very interesting to me. It's also like kind of a huge feat to do that multiple times. I actually had the pleasure of playing against Dirk Wagner at YCS Niagara last year in October in a top 4 playoff, but we played in a Hero Frog mirror match. I didn't know at the time that he was on Dupe Frogs, and I was able to take that one down. Really good player. He was undefeated in that event, and then he lost in like top 4. And then he went undefeated again at, was it YCS Houston, I believe, in Swiss. And then he also, his brother went undefeated at YCS Providence or NAWCQ. I think it was NAWCQ that just passed. He was undefeated and Swiss in that one, again, with this list. So they've been running this list consistently, and it doesn't play Dupe Frog in the main deck. It plays one in the side deck. What are your like thoughts about no dupes in Hero Frogs? Let's start there, 10-foot.
Let's see. So first reaction, I would say is, I mean, it's definitely unique, and I can see the merits to not wanting to play Dupe Frogs because it's okay in the frog mirror. Primarily, you don't want to be setting Dupe Frog into like a Monarchs on their turn, right. And it's more, I don't know. It's a very interesting take, and I've personally never played it before, but I'm not sure what else to say. Like, there's obviously going to be merits to cutting Dupe Frog, merits to keeping it in, but yeah. They've had a lot of success with it, so it's definitely not a bad thing, I would say.
Right. So first things first, the reasons why you would want to cut Dupe Frog. So like 10-foot just said, in the Frog mirror match, Dupe Frog is not the greatest unless you can actually have substitute access, in which case like then you can set up a Dupe block. But even Dupe blocks in the mirror match don't really last. They typically get Caiused or Ryzed and then attack over the other one. It's a very simple thing to do. It's not like some crazy thing. Also, Brain Control, Econ, Soul Exchange, all those cards also break Dupe blocks in the mirror match very easily. I think Frogs is probably one of the decks that doesn't care about a Dupe block really at all. I can honestly play through a Dupe block with my eyes closed. The only time a Dupe block is really problematic is when there's something like an absolute zero, you know, some serious pressure plus a Dupe block can be a little bit more difficult, but the Dupe block doesn't usually like win anybody the mirror match. So in the mirror match, not the greatest. Now, the other matchups, the other big 3 matchups are Value Turbo and Blackwings. I actually think Dupe Frog is insane versus Blackwing. In my experience, like all of their normal summons just run into a Dupe Frog and don't get through it. Sirocco, Bora, Shura, they need additional cards that they have to commit in order to deal with a Dupe Frog. Like literally there have been hands where I opened up just set Dupe Frog pass, and like Blackwings honestly don't have great answers to that without multiple cards. And Frogs wants you to use multiple cards on a singular threat, because then you get exposed to things like, again, Econ Soul Exchange, Brain Control into a Caius, or just Caius by itself, banish one, attack the other one. very good trades for frogs. They want you to commit to the field, and once you do, you kind of start losing the game. So I'm never really mad if my opponent has to go like Sirocco, Bora, pump, attack 37 over my Dupe Frog. I take 17, not a great amount of damage. I take 17, I get a search, and then I can easily crack back with something. So that's one of the things. One of the things that I think is good in the Blackwing matchup against Vayu, it's good, but not in the sense that you want to just set it and pass, because it's not good to just set it and pass. It's good with substitute. Like if you do a substitute combo against Vayu and you end on sub plus dupe or dupe, that is actually really good, because now they have to either, again, they have to commit several cards to it. They have to try to set a Raikou, which is always going to be bad against frogs. Like rarely is that going to even resolve, and it takes multiple turns to even, set it and then flip it. So that is not easy to do. And if your opponent has to do that, I'm happy. The other thing is that Vayu does play Deck Devi in the main deck, and the most standard lists, they all play at least one, if not two. So they don't have the hardest time breaking a dupe block with, torrential, double DDV, and they have other ways that, Caius, Chaos Sorcerer, stuff like that, but those are not as like broken at doing it. But they do have multiple ways to do it. Every deck really has ways to deal with the dupe block at this point, because we're in 2025, so it's not like some unheard of concept, right? Like decks can deal with the dupe block. But I think Sunny was saying something in Edison Format's Frog channel the other day that I agree with. Like, it doesn't matter that people know how to break a dupe block. You still have to use cards to do it, right? Like, what do you think about that, 10-foot?
Oh, absolutely. If you're siding in, or people will say something like, "Oh, you shouldn't bring a Light Imprisoning Mirror versus Lightstorms because they'll like bring MSTs." It's like you force them to have the out. If they're using the out on one of your threats, then it's like they don't have it for another card. So if they're using your Brain Control Caius on your dupe block, they're not going to have Brain Control Caius for your other boards later. And yeah, I was thinking of another like good benefit of having Death Frog instead of a dupe block. It's versus like a Gigaplan type decks where you don't want to be sitting there passively and like waiting for them to draw their cards, whereas Death Frog can be hitting for 19 each turn. So yeah,
they cut the dupe frogs for Death Frog. So the other reason obviously is DDV. So DDV targets, right? So if you look at this deck list, this is the exact deck list. I'm just going to click this so that way it doesn't time me out. But basically, this deck has, I'm going to put all the DDV targets at the top if DB allows me. I think this deck has like 10 total, which is very small. So like a fourth of the deck, right? This is a DDV target and this is a DDV target. Yeah, so it's exactly 10. So they play 10 DDV targets. They don't even play junk synchron, so no junk, no dupes. And sure, like those three cards get hit by DDV. Those three cards, you don't really want to draw them like super early. Like I don't necessarily want to draw a Dupe Frog. Junk Synchron can be argued, but I get the idea that in your opening hand, Junk Synchron can contribute to a brick hand, just the same way like a Chaos Sorcerer could or whatever for value or whatever, But cutting down on dupes has made this deck like super streamlined, and now they're playing triple upstart, which is, adds to consistency. And now they're able to play more traps as well, because usually frogs don't play deep prisons, like not always. I know you're probably the first person I ever saw playing deep prison in the main deck, if I'm being honest. I attribute that to you for sure. You've been on that for over a year. And usually this lineup right here, like this was the lineup before people started main decking deep prison, this 6. Now we have these two being, more modernized. And I get it, again, Battle Fader got cut for the same reason. Like all this is all due to a DDV meta. So this deck is like a direct answer to DDV. But I want to ask the question, like, is it correct? Like, is it correct in this current meta to not play Dupe Frog? Like, is Dupe Frog really that washed that we shouldn't be playing it? Because so far, Hero Frogs has won a lot of tournaments. I want to say that by now, Hero Frogs has probably won at least 15 tournaments in Edison, which is actually pretty impressive. Like if you go all the way back to 2023 and you look at the first time it happened, I believe Oscar Zelaya, and then I know Ludo won an event with it. I believe Alex the Man won an event with it. I won an event with it. Steve Silverman, and the list just goes on and on and on and on and on. Like multiple people in Europe have won with Hero Frogs. A tournament recently was just won by Hero Frogs. So Hero Frogs has been able to win several events. It won an RBET this year. Yeah, just the deck has been performing really well. It also won an Edison format World Championship qualifier. And I can't even add up all the wins that it has. It has a lot of wins. I think that at this point, if you look at the last 2 years of Yu-Gi-Oh, the last 2 years of Edison specifically, Vayu having the most wins and then Hero Frogs having the second most wins. And I don't think that it's really close after that. I think like Blackwings is third, but not close to the number of wins. Even this year, if you look at it, Blackwings only has like 2 wins, I think, and then Frogs have like 6, and Vayu has like 4 or 5 now. So no Hero Frog deck has ever won a tournament without Dupe Frog. It has been close, and actually Nick Wagner, I believe, went undefeated, and in the finals he lost to Black Wings, which is kind of funny. I have something to say about that too. But he lost to Black Wings in the finals of NAWCQ in Indianapolis this year with this deck, with this build, and that's really good. Like going undefeated, getting to the finals, everything like that. It really does suck losing after not losing the entire tournament. You finally do lose, and it's to the finals, and it's Black Wings and all that stuff. But I was saying in the beginning of this, like, I think Dupe Frog is actually pretty good against Black Wings, and I know that might sound weird to say, but I get it. They have Icarus attack. They can play DDV if they want and all that stuff, but you have to force them to use those cards. And them using it on Dupe Frogs is honestly what I want. Like, I don't want you to have that when I summon Absolute Zero, because I don't want you to out my Absolute Zero with traps. I'd rather you out Absolute Zero with monsters, because then you always lose 2 cards. You're not outing Absolute Zero with 1 monster typically. So, like, that's kind of my take on it. I'm not really sure the context of, like, how he lost in the finals, and I'm not saying that he lost in the finals because he didn't play dupes, because you could argue that maybe he wouldn't even have gotten to the finals if he did play dupes. But like, no Hero Frog deck has ever won without Dupe Frog yet.
Yeah, I think it's a really unique take. And you asked earlier, like, is this correct? I'm gonna say that there's no such thing as like correct or incorrect. Like, you're gonna have a certain win percentage, and the first time you try, or the first time you do something with a deck, you're gonna have people completely off guard. Like, when I first started Hero Frogs, I was like, all right, 2 swaps, I'm not playing 3, and so many people would make incorrect reads on my hand. They're like, oh, he has a 3rd swap in hand, and then I'll summon like Kaius. They're like, wait, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
So I'm gonna assume that a lot of his opponents, like, they had no idea what was going on. They're gonna assume, oh, he bricked on Dupe Frogs, and they're like playing around incorrect information, and then it's like, oh, I'm going to, he's gonna be summoning other cards that aren't Dupe Frog and catch people off guard. They're gonna play much differently. So there's definitely there's merits and disadvantages to playing any card, and I think with the element of surprise on your side, it's definitely in your benefit to not be playing Dupe Frog, like, for the first time. But once people see the list, then they're like, oh, I can play more aggressive, I don't have to worry about this, and they can make better reads. But yeah, it's kind of like Dream Frogs. People didn't know what to expect the first time they see it, and then, oh, now you know what they're siding, or Forgs too. The first time you play versus Forks, they're like, oh, they got some combo stuff, and you're gonna like side in DD Crows and stuff, and they, convert into actual Frog monitors, and then you have the wrong side pattern and everything. So
yeah, I actually like that point. So you're saying the element of surprise is definitely something that has contributed to this deck's success, because for years people have seen Hero Frogs and they kind of know what the standard list is, right? The standard list is basically this: just add in 2 Dupe Frogs and take out like Death Frog, and you could take out the upstarts or whatever, but basically it's this list right here. To then see it so much now and have everyone talking about it, when people play against you and you summon Substitute and you don't do anything that ends on Dupe Frog, it's very obvious that you're not, you just don't play the card. And it does make Substitute a lot weaker. I know that people have been saying like they are lowering the power of Substitute, but like trying to raise the power of the other cards in the deck, like the Monarchs and the Miracle Fusions and stuff like that, which is interesting because if you play Dupe Frog, you actually thin your deck out a bit more than this one does. Like, if you look at it, this deck only plays a total of 8 cards that Substitute basically will thin out. And if you add the 2 Dupe Frogs and a Unifrog, this also doesn't play Unifrog. I don't like that either. But so that's another card. So Unifrog, Junk Synchron, Double Dupe. So that's four cards. But again, those are all DDV targets at the same time. So those cards kind of contribute to those hands that have a lot of frogs in them. They contribute to those hands that lose the DDV. So again, I totally understand that if you're worried about DDV specifically, this is a great list to like play around that as much as possible by lowering about 4 cards. But it doesn't have Unifrog, it doesn't have the 2 dupes. And so when you're doing the combo, that's like 3 less cards that you're thinning your deck out. And you kind of replace them. If you technically think about it, you could say, oh, well, those are the Upstart Goblins in this deck. Like, those 3 frogs are the 3 Upstart Goblins or whatever, Oh, also, I guess looking at this, I just noticed, again, Death Frog, I keep kind of like discounting him. So there's 9. They play 9. No Unifrog, add Death Frog, but no dupes. So 2 less cards when they thin the deck out. But still, the power level of Substitute is way worse in his deck, because when they go for it, it can only ever be double swap or Death and swap. And that is a little awkward. There are so many games that like dupe blocking your opponent mid-game literally wins the game. I know you've experienced this. That has not changed to me in Edison. I don't care how like fast we're saying Edison has gotten or how different Edison has gotten. The mid-game dupe block is still vicious. Like, it is a vicious thing to get dupe blocked in the middle of a duel when you guys were kind of going back and forth and things were normal. Then all of a sudden your opponent just goes like, draw, econ, tribute, take your guy, bring back treatment frog, summon Substitute, sub, dupe, go. And now all of a sudden you just like come to a complete halt. You might even have the frog player down bad and they just do that shit in the middle of a game, and now the game is absolutely over. Like it is, you are not coming back. I do this to Machina all the time. I do it to Value. I do it to Black Wings. It's just like, yeah, you're in the, I call it like the vortex of frogs now. But this deck can't do that. And in theory, it's supposed to be faster, but it also could be argued that, you know, it's less defensive. The deep prisons, they're not searchable like Dupe Frog is. So even though these are additional layers of defense, you are sacrificing like a searchable way to have defense in the substitute, because substitute literally is a it's kind of like as a 3-up, first of all, so you'll see it often more than you will see a Dupe Frog. And even if you draw one Dupe Frog, that's also fine. Like, you know, you just bounce swap Frog to your hand, extra normal summon Dupe Frog, you have your Dupe block. So all of this, I think, came from DDV. And for the history lesson, Dream Frogs happened last year. That deck was playing triple Dupe, no heroes, and just Dupe blocking people over and over again with Pot of Avarice and Salvage and stuff like that. The direct answer to that was people playing DDV in the main deck. That was like how we ended up on this DDV meta that we're in right now. That all of like the Dream Frog stuff, Dream Frogs won 2 tournaments back to back, and immediately the answer to that was let's main deck DDV. And we've been in that ever since, because it was found out DDV is not just good against frogs, it's actually good against Value. Value has like 14 cards that get DDV'd, right? Like they have a lot of cards that get DDV'd, and even the cards that like you could argue Value and Plague and all that Gardner, like, oh, if they get DDV'd, it's not that bad, but like it is still pretty bad though, right? Like losing cards is still losing cards. I don't care, you know, that it's a Value that got DDV'd. Like I don't want to just have my cards go to the grave without ever getting any usage out of them whatsoever. That could be a Gruffer pitch. That could be something else. So DDV is good against every deck. It's good against every deck except those new decks like Machina Hero that are designed to not play in a DDV, but those decks like have their own problems.
Yeah, anti-meta.
Yeah. They literally are. I guess it's so weird to think about it, but yeah, Machina Hero is an anti-meta deck. It's good against Black Wings, and it is designed to beat Value as well because it's not playing into DDV. But, you know, all of this for DDV, the reality is you don't play against DDV decks every round of a tournament, right? Like you just don't. You probably play against more decks that don't play DDV in any given tournament that has 8 or more rounds, I would think. Like from personal experience, usually when I play in tournaments, I do play against like 3 birds at least, depending on how far I get, but at least 3 birds. And then the other rounds are just like other decks, like Machina, GBs, frog matches, like any kind of frog deck. Like, you know, you get a Light Sworn here and there. You might get something like a Diva Hero if you're lucky, maybe a Gadget or something like that if you're lucky. But there's so many decks in Edison that are actually viable and people do play them, like Amarillo is, there's Gigavice decks and stuff like that. There's so many viable decks. So in a tournament, you are going to play against a lot of decks that are not necessarily playing DDV. So I don't know if it's right to build your deck to circumvent that card, you know, in 2025 necessarily. Like I don't know if it's right that you take away a layer of the deck by playing no Dupe Frogs. Like I do think it is a like pretty big layer of the deck. I don't know. Some of these starting hands, summoning Infernal Prodigy, normal summoning substitute. What are you ending on?
Yeah, probably Death Swap in defense or something. But yeah, looking at his list, the cutting of Unifrog is, yeah, like you mentioned it too. It's actually really interesting to me because I have a love-hate relationship with Unifrog. You never want to be drawing Unifrog like by itself, and when you're versus frogs or versus Lightsworn or some sort of thing, it's completely dead. So Desfrog is a much better like on its own card. But looking at the side deck too, you're not really going to have any like in-deck answers to Black Whirlwind. You're playing 1 Dust Tornado, and there's just 1 Dust Tornado. I know in your list you play 2 Dust Tornado and what was it? Some other outs, but yeah, my list is like 2 Dust Tornado, Mobius, and then we have Searchable Unifrog and...
Yeah, I'll play Breaker.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, Breaker. Or are you siding Breaker versus Black Wings?
I actually do, because I side in Deep Prisons. I side in, you know, I keep in my Discard Traps. Like I have a lot of defense in that way, I guess. And I'm not afraid that like Breaker is going to get beat over by Shora or whatever. I don't think that Shora resolving on frogs is the same as it resolving against a lot of other decks, but that's also a completely different thing. Like if they get a Shora search, it's not the craziest thing, but if I'm cutting off if Breaker cuts off Whirlwind and it gets eaten by Shora, I am okay with that. Like that is how I feel personally. If I spend a turn going Regeki Break, pop your monster when you summon it for whatever reason, like let's say I'm Regeki Break, pop your monster when you summon it, so you don't search that turn. Then I go draw summon Breaker, pop your Whirlwind. If on the following turn you summon Shora and attack over it, fair. But yeah, I do side in Breaker against Blackwing. I side in because they also side in Dyna. Like they're going to put in Dyna. They're going to put in Dyna. Everybody puts in fucking Dyna, and I've caught so many people with Dyna back row, you know, Dyna Battle Trap. Yeah. But yeah, so I have outs, you have outs. This deck I didn't notice only does play 1 Dust in the side deck. maybe you can cut down on like one needle ceiling for a second dust, because losing to Blackwings in the finals, again, I don't know the context of it, but it just looking at this list, it is kind of weak to Blackwings because it doesn't play Unifrog and it doesn't play multiple dust tornadoes. Which sounds like that's what you were getting at.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 needles. Okay, it looks like this guy has been playing versus a lot of forks at his Chicago locals or something, and he's like, all right, I'm never losing to forks. He got the 3 needle ceiling, 2 Dynas, flip-flop frog, 3 vanities. Let's see. I'm not sure. Okay, I might be talking out of my ass, but I would personally play a 3rd Dyna before I play a 3rd needle ceiling personally, because, you know, Dyna can be dealing damage, and you can always, what was it? You can always set your Dyna, flip summon it later. But,
yes, which is broken.
I would. Yeah, I love yeah, I would rather play 3 Dyna before I play 3 Vanities Fiend, personally, just because of the flip effect. But yeah, I would definitely...
And the speed of it too, like it's fast.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, summon it turn 1 and just hit for 1200, like, all right, out it right now.
And you've played triple D prison on this list, like between the side deck and the main deck. You have 2 D prisons in the main and 1 in the side, and you have 2 bottomless, which I hate bottomless trap hole, but they're playing like, you know, bottomlesses and 3 D prisons, so they have a lot of defense. So Dyna is actually hard to beat a Dyna in this particular list. So I kind of see what you're cooking with, like just go triple Dyna. Whether that's right or not, we know, like you said, you could be talking out of your ass. It's just theory. But I can see the Dyna being a little bit better than the 3rd Vanities Fiend or a 3rd needle ceiling. I don't think you need 3 needle ceilings. I think this is a bit of an overreaction to the combo decks like Forgs and Gigavice. Like, you don't play against those decks enough to warrant all of this. Like, this is a lot. This is a lot for 2 decks. And because you're not siding needle ceiling against other shit, I imagine. Like, I just don't think outside of Gigavice and Forgs, I do not think you're siding it for anything else. And I do think this is like a bit overkill. I think adding an Dust Tornado is not like the craziest thing to just make the list a little bit. But speaking of Whirlwind, the reason why I main deck Unifrog and the reason why I love Unifrog is because it is a searchable out to Whirlwind. And that shit, that is worth gold. And in that matchup, in the Blackwing matchup, which is already a hard matchup, having a card that deals with Whirlwind as a searchable thing is a huge deal. And you also end on my favorite thing against Blackwings, which is a Dupe Frog. You go Dupe Frog, Unifrog, you poke, you pop the Whirlwind, and now they can't even attack the Unifrog, so it makes it super awkward to like even commit more back row. And you're kind of insulated for the next turn to like follow up with a Monarch now or do whatever. You can even go main phase 1, battle phase, attack, and then main phase 2, summon Monarch. Just one of my favorite things to do against Blackwing specifically. That is one of the most prevalent matchups and one of the hardest. So having a Unifrog to me is actually very good in that matchup. And if you're not going to main deck it, probably should side deck it. You're siding a Dupe Frog
at the very least. Yeah, definitely agree with that. I can what was it, understand not wanting to main deck Unifrog because of like Frogs, Lightstorm, that sort of deck, but side decking it, you definitely want it versus trap heavy decks. And another thing with Unifrog is it's like an insurance policy versus like random like trap heavy rogue decks with like multiple Starlights and that sort of thing. If you can, Unifrog will often just like solo those matchups. And in the limited testing I did without Unifrog in the main, I was getting destroyed by those like 5 trap decks with Starlights, Dark Bribe, anti-meta, that sort of thing. But definitely think, or to be fair, Unifrog is better with Dupe Frog, so you probably want
right. It's
probably
weird.
Want to cut a needle ceiling and your flip flop for the second Dupe and your Unifrog. But that would be kind of funny. But maybe you're going in circles with that. But just an idea.
Yeah, the side deck anyway would need some adjusting to fit in the Unifrog and the Dust Tornado. But I think it's worth it just to make your Blackwing matchup better. I think your Blackwing matchup is more important than your Forg and Gigavice matchup. Because I'm gonna be honest, those other 2 matchups are very sacky anyway. And I get wanting to circumvent that with these like bombs or whatever. But even if you remove the needle ceiling, remove the Vanities Fiend or whatever, you still have so many answers to those decks in your deck. Bottomless, you could argue, oh well, bottomless kind of deals with Blackwings, but as good as bottomless is, there's a lot of games where Blackwings does this really annoying thing, and this is one of the things that has scarred me from playing bottomless in my Frog deck. They start summoning Blizzards and Kalutes, even with Whirlwind or even without Whirlwind, and they start attacking you with that, and then you have bottomless set, and now it's so awkward that you now have to play into an Icarus attack with a blatant back row that they're going to pop and get advantage out of. And I hate that experience. It happens so many times where they're like, summon Blizzard, bring back this guy. It's like, are you going to now bottomless the Borer that he brought back with Blizzard, and then he still just has the Blizzard on the field? And like, I don't know, it's super awkward. It's just like a super awkward thing. I'm not into that. I'm not into when they go Whirlwind Kalute, which they do all the time to get Gale special, half your Monarch, and you're like, I have a bottomless set. I feel so smart right now. Like, so it's obnoxious. It's really obnoxious, but I get it. Bottomless helps against Lightsworn. It can help. I don't know if they're bringing it against Value, but it can be used against those decks. I just don't believe in Bottomless Trap Hole as a card. That card would be nowhere near my side deck. I don't think that anything has changed in the meta. Yeah, I just don't think anything has changed to make me want to play that card. I think that card I genuinely think it's bad. For so many reasons in Frogs, especially because at Frogs, it can fuck you. Like, it can actually ruin you by having it set, and they summon something like a Fossil Diner. They summon something, like you're expecting a Blackwing, and you set Bottomless, because you're not going to hold the Bottomless in your hand against Blackwings. You're not. Like, there's no reason to. What does it do in your hand? Nothing. You don't know when they're going to summon a monster that gets Bottomless. You don't know when they're going to summon a monster that gets, under Bottomless. You just have to set it in hope. And I've set it and hoped, and then they go summon Fossil Diner, and I'm like, this is so awkward now. Like, and then this deck doesn't play Dupe Frog, so they can't even do the thing where, like, oh, you summoned the Dyna by itself and attack me, so I can just go draw set Dupe Frog. I know you've done this a million times, 10-foot. Yeah. Your opponent summons Dyna. Yeah.
Sets up Toad, set Dupe Frog, and you were talking about Bottomless. People don't really think about this, but Bottomless is actually a DDV card. Like, they hit you with DDV, you reveal the Bottomless, you can never set that because they're just going to summon Blizzard or hit you with Values, and you're just like, well, okay, I guess I don't get Treeborn for the time being. And,
yeah. Once your Treeborn gets cut off by your Bottomless Trap Hole, it's just a feeling that you'll never forget. Just try, like, if you guys don't believe us, we're two Frog experts. If you don't believe us, just try it out. See if when you play against a good Blackwing player, you're going to have some experiences with Bottomless that just make you feel really bad about having that card in your deck. There's a reason you've never seen it in any of my topping lists. I've probably topped like 8 tournaments with Frogs now, all different kinds of Frogs, and that card, I don't think I've ever put it in my side deck. I've tried it. Like, I've tested it. It's not like I'm one of the people that just speaks about shit that I've never tried. I tried it. It just isn't, to me, it just isn't good.
Or I was going to say, it's like, if nobody's expecting it, then it gains value. So,
yes.
What was it? Yeah, like, if I were to add Bottomless or Battle Fader, people would get thrown off guard. Like, Battle Fader is like, it's such a, like, people think it's good, but at the same time, it's like it dies to oppression, it dies to DDV, and
it does
a lot of times Blackwings will Sirocco pump a Bora and then like kill you with Battle Fader in hand through battle damage, and it's like, what was it? So Battle Fader loses value, but if I were to suddenly add a Battle Fader, nobody's expecting it. Now I get like a bunch of value, so I would assume that Bottomless is the same way for them, but I don't know. Maybe they're getting more value out of it than us because they're opening it more. But yeah. Positive variance. I've had like a lot of negative variance with Bottomless, so I'm just like, yeah, this card is not on my ad list for a long time.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like top decking it either. That's another thing I don't like about the card. Drawing it after the fact is really bad. It's one of those cards that, like, because I side that Crow, and so the Crow is a card that already does that whole, if you draw it after the fact, it's bad. And I'm not going to have Bottomless and Crows, and I think that Crow is just a better card than Bottomless, like by a lot, honestly, in this format.
Even into Blackwings?
No. I wouldn't side Crow against Blackwings. Yeah, to be specific, I'm just saying that if you take my side deck, like what my side deck looks like, I play DD Crow. Where these Bottomless are at, you could put in 2 Crows. And Crows have the overlap of going against Forge and Gigavice, because like I'm going to put in Crow against Gigavice too, because like it can be the reason why you ended up stopping them from going Synchro, bring back Gigaplant, make like they just make a robot. I call the Power Tool robot. They just make a robot and they go bring back Gigaplant, you go Crow it. Like, that's actually pretty damn good. Like, that is a good situation to be in, where they just have the robot on the field, and now they can do like DDR or whatever, but at that point they're just going DDR instead of Supervise and make a Titanium or Stardust. And I think it's much easier for Frogs to deal with Gigaplant plus robot than Gigaplant plus robot plus Titanium or Stardust next to it, which is like, once you add that, you can't target part into the duel. It's like, all right, now it's just kind of chalked. But yeah, I like DD Crow a bit more. I like DD Crow, mirror matches, like Frog mirror matches, stuff like that. I think it's a little bit better than just having, again, like bottom. And they're not siding Bottomless against the mirror match, I don't think. But I think it's like Solemn, Dyna, Vanity's Fiends, Needle Sealing if it's Forgs, and that's probably it. Because their goal is in the side deck for this deck. I imagine the goal is stick a Vanity's Fiend, set Solemn, tell your opponent to deal with it, and usually people will have like 1 or 2 outs to Vanity's Fiend. You fade the one with Solemn, and then if they just don't have another one, or if they don't have another one in time, because sometimes they'll draw the next one, but I've done so much damage with the Vanity's Fiend that you will not be able to win this game. All I have to do is like summon a Caius now and you die because you're so low or something, like 3 attacks is 72 or something like that. It's some number, 24, yeah, whatever it is. 72. Yeah, 72. So like a Kaya summon at that point is you're just that. But to the point about Dupeless Hero Frogs, yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is the flavor of the week. The last like month, I feel like everyone was talking about Malicious, and I'm like, I get it. Malicious finally has won a tournament. It won exactly 1 tournament out of the fucking 15 tournaments that Hero Frogs has won with the 5 heroes that are not Malicious. Like, this This style of build right here with the 5 heroes, this has won every single tournament that Hero Frogs has ever won except one. Ever. Like, just to be clear. And I still think, and I feel like you also agree because you played this version of it too.
Yeah.
This is just a more consistent version. This is the better version overall. I do not like drawing Malicious either. It's so bad to draw that card. And I know like, oh, I'll play discard traps, but no.
Yeah, then you draw 4 discard traps and 0 malicious. You're like, oh, okay. Somebody asked me to bash on the malicious build, and I said, well, it's higher highs, lower lows. Like, yeah, you're gonna have a 1-for-1 malicious, and you're gonna feel like a god, and then sometimes you're gonna have double mally, and then dupe and no discard traps. And you're gonna be like, damn, I don't know what I was thinking when I was building this deck. But yeah. Let's see. What are your thoughts on the 2 e-calls?
So I don't hate it because now you have what 4 I guess they don't play. Oh, they do play Rhoda. Okay, so let's do this. Yeah. So they played 3 Rhodas because there's no junk synchron in this deck, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I
agree with no junk synchron because of no dupe frog. You have less level 2s.
Exactly.
So
you have less.
With that.
Right. You have less level 2s, so the no junk synchron makes sense. But you're playing a lot of ways to get to Stratos, and you're playing 3 upstarts. So your deck is supposed to bridge the gap to make this card live more often. Because the worst thing to happen is this card not being live. I play Future Fusion to circumvent that. I understand just adding another e-call to circumvent that, and that might even be better. Like, I could totally see, like, okay, I don't want to play Future Fusion because Future Fusion has its own problems. Like, I'm playing Dandelion and stuff like that. So, higher highs, lower lows. My highs are, if I go Future Fusion, send Dandy, summon Substitute, I'm going to Wombo combo you, and you're not winning. The advantage that I gain from doing that is entirely too much advantage, especially if you don't even deal with the Future Fusion itself. Like, if the Future Fusion stays and Gaia comes out, now I have 4 monsters off of, like, a 2-card interaction. So, it's just so much plussing, but in terms of e-call, in my build that plays 1 e-call, I often come up with the situation where I have a dead e-call in those grindy games. So this is going to happen more often in this deck because I imagine that you're going to go Stratos, Search, Ocean a lot. This is like one of the most common plays that this deck does. Stratos, Search, Ocean, special swap is like a normal thing that you do, especially when you have Miracle Fusion in your hand. You start to kind of kill your future e-calls when you like do that play, and that's a very normal play. I don't know if I'm not saying it's bad to play another e-call, but it is one of the things you have to think about, that you're going to have dead cards more often. On the contrary, they don't play 1-for-1.
Yeah.
So they have, because I draw 1-for-1 dead. So the same way they can draw e-call dead, I draw 1-for-1 dead. But I also think that opening turn, like if we're talking about cards that are really good in the early game, like 1-for-1 is one of my favorite cards. It's one of the cards that non-games people for me. Like I literally just win the game because I drew 1-for-1. Or it's that extender against GBs that they just don't expect. 1-for-1, and it's like, oh fuck, you stopped my Monarch, and now I went 1-for-1, and I continued to play. And in this build, you can even go Death Frog, attack over your GB, which I could actually see that being really good, but they don't play it. I like the double e-call. I'm not mad at it, but I do feel like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a trade-off.
It is a trade-off.
More consistent with Miracles, and then sometimes you're gonna open Stratos e-call, and you're like, I kind of don't like this, but yeah, comes with good and bad, but yeah,
it's interesting. The deck is solid. Like I don't think it's a bad deck, and it's in the same vein of like pretty much every other good Edison deck. They're good. They're gonna top, right? Like you can do anything you want to Hero Frogs really, and you'll probably see success with it. Like we had a guy win a tournament in my server the other day. He's playing Thestalos. He's playing Thestalos and Hero Frogs. He's playing basically this list, but just take out like one Rise and put in the Thestalos, and I think he also plays Soul Exchange, which I do think Soul Exchange Thestalos is very good. Because you usually get 3 cards with it. Sure. Soul Exchange, the monster you take from them, the card out the hand, and then when you use Bottomless or Deep Prison eventually on it, you get 3 cards out of them for that exchange, which I love. But you can just do whatever you want. Like I don't think that there are any rules that you have to follow, and this is kind of being proven with the dupeless build going around, is that like they're breaking rules and it's working out,
For sure. What are your thoughts on the Solemn Judgment in Decide? Have you ever tried that before?
So what's funny? I've been a student of Patrick Hoban for a long time, and he's the first person I ever saw start this concept of like floodgate you and then prevent you from getting out of floodgate. He used this side in the Necrol's mirror match when they played the Genlock. For people who don't know what that is, like Genlock, you summon a monster and it says, as long as that monster's on the field, your opponent can't special summon monsters for like the rest of the duel until this monster leaves the field basically, or like goes face down. Let me just pull it up. This thing, Gen Release Rituals. So it says when you ritual summon a monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard as one of the materials. If a player ritual summons using this card, the other player cannot special summon while that ritual summon monsters face up the other player. So it's a one-sided oppression, right? One-sided Vanity's Emptiness, which is insane actually. The card's banned if you notice. It has like the fucking the censor mark on it. Like, it's banned because it's that broken. I say all of this to say, he was the first person I ever saw doing stuff like this, where he would go, I'm going to floodgate you, and I'm going to set solemn. He was citing Solemn Scalding. And Solemn Scalding is another card that just says, like, if this is the only card in your back row, you can activate it, pay 3,000 life points, negate anything. So when I see Vanity's Fiend Solemn Judgment, I was like, this makes sense to me if I'm thinking like Patrick Hoban, which, you know, very good player, very one of the best players of all time. And yeah, I don't really have any gripes with it. For like, you can absolutely ruin someone in a mirror match with a Solemn Judgment. I can see it. Like, it stops Monarchs, right? You have a Caius on the field, they go Caius, and you're like Solemn. Their turn's over unless they have Miracle Fusion. So in that way, it's really good. It's a turn skip. It can be used on other things, other Miracle Fusions. I don't know, whatever's important at that time, you can use it on. It's a catch-all card, and it's not a card.
I said versatile.
Yeah, it's very versatile. It pretty much hits everything. I'm trying to think about like what's wrong with Solomon Frogs, because it's not. I would say it's better than Bottomless.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I actually personally tried Solemn, and my gripe with it was the life points. So you can't just like set it turn 1, and oftentimes, like, you'll be holding it in your hand, they'll drop their bomb or whatever, and then you'll be holding a dead Solemn. And the other one, okay, so life points number 1, and yeah, it's like Bottomless syndrome to me. But I don't hate the card. Like, I think that I just probably needed more practice. But you know, I was just like theory crafting, like, get all this practice in, and I can probably get it to like a certain level of worthwhile. But I didn't think it was worth it. But it looks like he was able to make Solemn work. So that's actually one of the cards that I like personally.
I think so. I don't know where you sided it or where you played your Solemn, but I think that they would only be putting this in against combo decks. That in my head, I think that they're only putting it against combo decks, because I cannot imagine putting this against anything else. You're obviously not playing it against Value and Black Wings, because people side Solemn out against the bird decks anyway. Like, the bird player side out Solemn if they even play it against other birds, because it's pretty bad when somebody can just go Greffer Armwing, attack for game. You're at 4,000. So Solemn only makes sense against combo decks, which then makes their side deck look like it's even more honed in against just combo decks. Like, and I guess you could side Solemn against other fraud. I would side against other fraud decks. So it'll be 4x Gigavice, Dragon Turbo, right? Of course, Dragon Turbo, they go trade in. You're like, no. Cards of Consonants, no. Like, just stop. I'm going to die anyway if I don't stop you. So I'd rather just Solemn your Cards of Consonants or trade in, Solemn your Solar Recharge if I'm feeling anti against Lightsworn, and just say, beat me with your 4-card hand and your deck is kind of bricky. Those decks I can see siding it against. Not a horrible idea. Something I actually might do in the future is just side Solemn and just, go Vanity's Fiend and say, like, all right, if I can get this out. Because that's the goal. Like, if you can get out Vanity's Fiend and Solemn, you just kind of win. But
yeah. Solemn on a Rye Break sounds insane. Like, maybe I need to try it again. Try to get that play. I'm sure that gives a ton of dopamine.
Yeah, that has to be pretty decent too. Like, and again, Solemning Miracle Fusion in the mirror match, I forced them to have the second one. Like, they probably don't. Like, force them to have a double Miracle. If you have double Miracle, then you were going to win anyway, honestly. Like, I don't know what back row was going to deal with that. Like, if you take the Solemn and you change it to another card, like, the only thing that's better is Compulse, and we don't play that. So yeah, there's not many other cards that you could have. Like a discard trap, you have to discard something and it wipes you, and the 0 wipes your field on top of, so it literally is like, Solemn is pretty good to protect your board and all that stuff. I would even say Solemn is kind of nasty if you could dupe block somebody.
Oh yeah.
But
it sounds kind of nice, actually. You can chain it to their chariot.
Yeah, like, I wonder if they side Solemn with dupe frogs, so you can go like sub dupe Solemn, that type of thing. I don't know, but I'm still debating on how I feel about this idea of no dupes, because I really have grown attached to the dupe block. And as a person who's won a tournament with dupe blocking people, and that was one of the reasons why I won. Like, I remember matches where the dupe block, I decked out an Amaryllis player, like, because I dupe blocked him, and he had a 5 monster field. He had Amaryllis, Titanial, the 1900 thing that gets really big for every plant, Botanical Lion, and a Lone Fire Blossom. And what ended up happening, I just looked in his graveyard and saw that he had Lightning Vortex in his graveyard. He milled it earlier with Charge or Raikou, I forget which one, but he milled it. He milled Lightning Vortex, and so I saw that in his graveyard, and I looked at his field, and I was like, I'm just going to pass and see what happens. And I had a Battle Fader in my hand, but I was like, I'm just going to pass. And I kept passing, and he kept drawing and passing and discarding, and then I got to a point where I stopped looking at my top card. I was like, draw, discard, go. And then he realized that after I did that like 2 times, he was like, oh, okay, you're not going to play the game anymore. And I have less cards. And they were just like, yeah, you deck out. And the only reason that was possible is because of the dupe block. But then you have triple needle sealing here. So maybe if you just needle sealing the guy, with his 5 monster field, you would have just won the game by attacking. It's hard to say. They've covered a lot of bases. Like they've covered a lot of bases with this deck and this side deck. It's obviously not, nothing is perfect. Like you said, it might not be correct. Correct is maybe not the right word to use, because what's correct one day is not necessarily correct the next.
Yeah. I think optimal is the word we're looking for. But yeah, I do like the idea of having something new like this deck. Like I am a fan of it for sure. And time will tell if it's on par with the double dupe builds. But yeah, it is cool to see like different variants of Hero Frogs running around, like dupeless with dupe, and then your build, my build.
Yeah, you make certain matchups worse. I want to briefly kind of touch on that. I think the Machina control matchup or any Machina deck, your matchup against those is way worse. You just have a way worse matchup against all Machina decks. I'm not a fan of that. That's one thing. I think people were asking, is the dupe block good against GBs, and do people side out dupes against GBs? I do not.
I love dupe. I think Dupe Frog gets the most value versus GBs than any other deck.
Like I do not side it out.
Yeah, it forces them to have Test Tiger or that sort of thing, and
yeah, I'm a fan of Dupe Frog against GBs. I've never sided out my Dupe Frogs against GBs. So yeah, I think it's good in that matchup. I think it makes that matchup a little bit more bearable. Or whatever matchups are there. Lightsworn is like, I don't know. It's okay. Like it obviously can be good. It forces them to have to Celestia or JDU, and at that point, like you might, if you go dupe block and they don't have those cards immediately, and they're like a live Celestia, a live JD, now you're summoning Monarchs behind a dupe block, which is really fucking strong. So in that way, it's really good. It makes your openings better against all decks, because Infernal Prodigy Substitute is really strong. 1-for-1, Junk Synchron, or 1-for-1 Stratos. 1-for-1 Infernal Prodigy, all of those hands, all of those things are like all way better when you play Dupe Frog, because I do not think ending on Death Frog and bouncing a swap is that good. And I'll say this is kind of like this is a common situation that people don't talk about enough, but it's one of the ways that Frogs beats bird decks. Not having monsters on the field in the early game for Sirocco is a big deal. Because what happens when you have a monster on the field turn 1 is that now it enables Sirocco DDV. It enables Sirocco just attacking over your monster. Like, I personally like Swap Frog, send Treeborn Frog more than like Summon Stratos, search a guy, and pass, unless I have like D-Prison. Because then if I have D-Prison, Stratos D-Prison, that's pretty good. Because then if they summon Card Trooper or Sirocco, you're just like D-Prison it. And now they've basically skipped the turn against the Stratos, which is really bad. But in cases where I don't have defense, and I don't really want to use a discard trap on a Sirocco, if I'm being honest, especially when it's Raigeki Break. I do not want to Raigeki Break a Stratos, or Raigeki Break a Sirocco. So I'm saying all of this to say, one of the ways that I have beaten bird decks, and one of the ways that Raw Neck taught me to beat bird decks, is literally to just make Sirocco a dead card in the matchup as long as possible. It actually hurts those decks so much. Like if every turn you're going, bring back Treeborn, tribute for Monarch, they go Bottomless or D-Prison it, pass with an open field again. Sirocco's just rotting. It's just fucking rotting in their hands. Especially Blackwings that don't even have Greffers to convert a Sirocco. Like it's actually dead. So my point is, if you play Death Frog and you open up a Substitute combo or like Substitute play, you're going to end on Death Frog. You're going to make Sirocco that much more live, and it beats over the Death Frog too. So like your Substitute has now become a weird like -1, which I'm not used to that being a thing. Like it's never that for me. Like I don't think I've ever had. Even if they DDV, even if I end on dupe or sub dupe and they DDV me, I'm still not going minus in that scenario. I've thinned out my deck of all other frogs basically, and you use 2 cards to DDV me, and I lost a sub and a dupe or a dupe and a dupe. I'm assuming you made it mistiming, which is fine. Like I'm going to do something to make you chain it, and then you can make a mistiming. So I'm going to assume you made it mistiming. So let's assume I get no advantage out of the dupes. Even that situation is still fine for me, because now you lost 2 cards, I lost 2 cards. I'm playing a deck that gets a +1 every turn. But yeah, summoning Death Frog and passing to a deck that plays triple Sirocco, not my favorite thing.
Yeah, I think it's a meta call at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah. It's faster Hero Frogs. Like it plays triple Upstart, it plays double E-Call. It's fast. It's very fast.
Yeah, it definitely beats combo decks better, like 4 Gigavice. Let's see. What's the other one? Dragon Turbo. Like I'd probably rather have a Death Frog than Unifrog, but
yeah, it definitely does good against the combo decks. I just don't think that combo decks are that prevalent now. Yeah. Like I think that this deck made sense months ago. I think that there are less and less people playing combo decks, and I don't think that doing this much against them is necessary. Like this entire side deck is basically anti-combo deck, which is like holy shit. Like yeah, you might never lose to a combo deck ever, but I think that you're going to start to have weird losses to things like Machina. Like the Machina deck should not be good against frogs. I stand by that. I want to play Machina decks every single round of a tournament. I want to play them every single round. That's how easy I think those decks are to play against when you're playing just frogs. And I think the reason that they're so easy is because Dupe Frog trivializes those decks. They can't do their ridiculous summon gear frame, get fortress, attack for a lot. That they can't do that. Like, do something else. So I don't know. That's like my thoughts. I am trying to think if there's anything else that particularly stands out about not playing Dupe Frog. We said DDV, dead frog hands, like the froggy hands that are just, you have those less. You really shouldn't have those at all since you only play like eight or 9 frogs. OG was testing this though, my friend Gary U, and he was like, drawing Death Frog sucks so fucking bad.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, it's bad.
Yeah. If I were to do my own take on this list, I could see myself doing 2 dupes and then side deck Unifrog with Death Frog instead of Unifrog. Like, drawing Unifrog sucks. I never want to draw a Death Frog either, but yeah, I feel like, I don't know. It's a lot of things to play around with, but I'm personally never cutting Dupe Frogs.
Yeah. Oh, well, damn. There you go. You're never cutting.
Unifrog I can agree with. Unifrog I can agree with for sure. Like, I have a super big love-hate relationship with that.
What about going down to 1 Dupe Frog in the main deck?
1 Dupe Frog. I would like that a lot better than 0 personally, because like soft lock is, top decking a substitute and then just like sitting on a soft lock guarantees you get a +1 next turn. Like, you can go soft lock into Death Frog or soft lock into Swap Frog. So yeah, I would. Yeah, what was it? Yeah, I can understand not wanting to draw 2 dupes, but even hard drawing like 1 Dupe Frog is, it's okay compared to like not having it at all. So yeah, I would prefer 1. I would like to see the 1 Dupe Frog in the main, so you have more side deck space. And I'm not sure what flip flop frog is covering when you have 3 needle ceilings. So yeah, not sure.
It's a searchable out to the plant decks, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
All I can think about is against Gigavice, because that's where you want flip flop the most. You substitute Dupe Frog and flip flop frog. If you can get all of that on the field somehow, you can just sit there and flip and bounce all their shit. But easier said than done, for one. And I don't know if they're siding that against another matchup, because I imagine against DDV decks, you don't side it at all. So if you're not siding it against that, you're probably only siding it against Gigavice. And at that point, I do think that like this is way too many cards for Gigavice. But maybe in their area, Gigavice is just tormenting them, like you said in the very beginning. So I think 1 dupe could work. I don't know what to cut. Maybe an upstart. Didn't you have a theory about playing 2 upstarts?
Me personally,
you spoke about this a long time ago.
Yeah. Or what was it? I was on 1 upstart. Ivan Rosito.
That's what it was.
Ivan Rosito was personally playing 2 upstarts. But yeah, I don't know. I was just like, I feel like I need more and more tools. So yeah, I would just like slowly cut the upstarts, because your deck is already like pretty consistent with substitute like dumping like 10 cards out of your deck. So yeah.
Your logic on 1 upstart, I think, has something to do with like every monarch.
I just didn't know. I just didn't know what else to put in the space of upstart. So I'm just like, you know what? You can't go wrong with upstart. So I just like threw it in there. But
yeah, I remember you saying something mathematically about it though too. Like 9,000 and 8,000 are not that much different for frog decks specifically.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because like 3 attacks is 7,200. So like you're killing your opponent with a 4th monarch or absolute 0 attack anyway. Like no matter if they had 8,000 or 9,000, it doesn't matter. But I might be misquoting, but I think it was something like if you have multiple upstarts and they're at 10,000, then you start to kind of put it a little further away, because then it's 96, I think, if you do 4 attacks with a monarch in theory. Like 4 attacks is 96, but so 10,000 is actually like more problematic than just 1,000. Giving them 1,000 doesn't really change the duel too much. The only time it does matter is if like you go 3 monarch attacks in a Caius is game. It's not game if they're at 9,000, I guess, but just random math stuff. All of it matters. All of it doesn't matter. It's just Edison format. It's just Yu-Gi-Oh. Do what you want. Yeah. Like I always say, guys, don't take anything too seriously. Don't like get your panties in a bunch. Play malicious if you like malicious. Like don't play if you like malicious. If you feel like playing malicious and playing 5 discard traps is the way to go, by all means do that. If that's what makes you happy, do that. And if you like playing no dupe frogs, do that as well. I recommend people try out everything and
for sure.
See what works for you, because you can top with anything. Like you really can. I cannot stress that enough. Edison has been played for years. People have topped with like so much random shit that doesn't look optimal. I'm going to use your word now. That doesn't look optimal, and like they still get there though. They still top. Like they still make it pretty farther than the people who like had all the headcanon about the right way to play decks and this is the best way and no other way works. Like you can do what you want.
Mm-hmm. I'd rather be lucky than good is a very popular saying.
I say that all the time, especially to my friend Luke Feeney. I say all the time, I'd rather be lucky than good. Because honestly, at this point, in order to do well, a lot of luck is necessary, because I think the decks have gotten better than the players. And what
they become what do you call it, optimized.
Yes, the decks are better than the players now. I think that any Joe Schmo with a Blackwing or Value deck can just go and win a tournament, and we've seen it happen so many times that it's like those decks are just so close to being solved. You could just play one of the most standard lists and you will most likely do well if you're just decent. Like, and you don't have to be like the best player by any means. You don't have to be the best player in the tournament, the best player in the room, but if you just have one of those super optimized lists, they're going to carry you really, really far. So yeah, play what you want, figure out what works for you, and let us know what you guys think in the comments about this no dupe thing. This is like all the craze. Let us know if there's anything specific that we didn't talk about that you just want to mention. You know, write up fucking word solid in the comment section. Do what you want to do. Also, subscribe to 10foot's channel.
Yeah, what's up?
Yep, 10foot does have a YouTube channel. Subscribe to that. He has really funny videos on there. Really good editing. He's like the best editor in the community. So yeah, subscribe to his channel. Check that out, and we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace.